وَإِذْ بَوَّأْنَا لِإِبْرَاهِيمَ مَكَانَ الْبَيْتِ أَلَّا تُشْرِكْ بِي شَيْئًا وَطَهِّرْ بَيْتِيَ لِلطَّائِفِينَ وَالْقَائِمِينَ وَالرُّكَّعِ السُّجُودِ وَأَذِّن فِي النَّاسِ بِالْحَجِّ يَأْتُوكَ رِجَالًا وَعَلَى كُلِّ ضَامِرٍ يَأْتِينَ مِنْ كُلِّ فَجٍّ عَمِيقٍ.
We've looked at the structure of the Kaaba itself. We've looked at the Kiswa. Let us now look at the various parts that are associated with the Kaaba itself. Let us look at the well of Zamzam. Zam means stop. Therefore, this is a well of stop, stop. There are two versions which says how this well got the name stop, stop or Zamzam. The first version says when Lady Hajar, she'd made her seventh walk towards the end of Marwa. When she looked back, she saw where her son was Ismail, where he was, a gush of fountain of water sprang up. She ran towards it and she tried to stop that gushing because it was so powerful. So she said, Zam, Zam, stop the gushing. That is one version. The other version says no. When she came back, she saw the water gushing out. But as the water was gushing out onto the dry soil, it was all getting soaked immediately, so she could not scoop it. Therefore, she built a wall made out of clay, if you like, what would now be called a dam, a miniature clay wall around it. When the water got saturated in the enclosure, it started to fill up, and she scooped it. So in order to stop the water soaking into the ground, she said, stop, stop, Zam, Zam. The well of Zamzam is about 21 meters from the eastern wall and is towards the corner of what is the line of the mountain of Safa. The well itself is about 30 meters deep. Until about 1968 AD, people used to go down on the steps from that position down to the well inside, which had facilities of the water being given to the taps inside. So people would go downstairs to drink the water from the well of Zamzam. Until 1953, the water used to be got out by manual means, that is by dipping in the bucket and then pulling it out. From the year 1953 onwards, electric pumps were installed. But from the year 1968, that well down underground, that was now closed, so people cannot get down, although that facility is still there. Water was now pumped to a piping system to taps outside above ground near the side of the Mount of Marwa. And this is where now when people finish the Sa'i, they go to drink the water of Zamzam. In the year 1994, just outside the city of Makkah, they built a water plant at a place called Kuda. And this water plant, the water was also pumped to this place. And from here, it is where water is then bottled for mass exportation. Also, it is put into tankers to go towards the Medina for water to go into the mosque of the Prophet. There is also the black stone, Hajar Aswad. Hajar means stone, Aswad is black. And this stone is placed on the corner of the southern wall and the eastern wall. And the Prophet said, the placing of the stone there represents your greeting with Allah. Therefore, he used to touch the stone and he used to kiss the stone. The spirit behind this, as we touch the stone, is that you are shaking hands with Allah and you are entering into an agreement, a covenant with Allah, to say, by this shaking of the hand, I now come into agreement where I now want to follow an Islamic lifestyle. It is also said, the 12th Imam, when he reappears, he will reappear right at this spot. Now, during the season of Hajj, it is very, very difficult to get to touch the stone, leave apart kissing the stone. And this was the same problem for years before. During the time of the 6th Imam, people came to the 6th Imam and they said, "Oh Imam, we cannot get near the stone during the time of Hajj. And yet the Prophet has said, by touching it and by kissing it, we are now spiritually shaking hands with Allah. So the sixth Imam said, fine, if you cannot get near it, what you do is, as you pass that line between the stone and the corner of the mountain of Safa, that is where we start the tawaf on that line. As you start the tawaf, with your right hand side, you wave to the stone. So that waving to the stone is effectively touching the stone from afar. And you say, Allahu Akbar. That recitation of Allahu Akbar symbolizes your agreement with Allah. Therefore, until today, very few people can get into that inner circle of the Kaaba during the time of Hajj to actually touch it. And that is why you will see the pilgrims, when they go around, they actually from afar raise their right hand and they recite Allahu Akbar. So where did this black stone come from? There are 5 versions that are going around in history. The first one says it came down during the time of Prophet Adam. So the first version says during his time it was lowered by the angels and it was placed in that position by the angels. The third version says no, it was lowered by the angels, but it was placed in position by Prophet Adam. The third version says no, the stone did not come during the time of Prophet Adam, it came during the time of Prophet Ibrahim. And the same next 2 versions apply. It was brought down by the angels during the time of Prophet Ibrahim, and it was placed in that position by the angels. Or the other version says no, it was placed there by Prophet Ibrahim. So those are the 4 versions, 2 during the time of Prophet Adam, or 2 during the time of Prophet Ibrahim. The third version says it was brought down during the time of Prophet Adam. But during the time of Prophet Adam and Prophet Ibrahim, those walls somehow got flattened and there was no walls. So where did the stone go? It is said that stone was placed on the nearby mountains. And when Prophet Ibrahim reconstructed the walls, him together with Prophet Ismail brought that stone back and put it into its original position. It is also said in its original form, this stone used to radiate light. It was illuminating. But over the years, as people kept touching it and kissing it, and these were sinful people, that radiation has now stopped. The original stone was 1 big piece, but now it is 8 small pieces. So how did this occur? When that stone was placed there from earlier times, there were many attempts to come and steal the stone. And many attempts did succeed. People used to come from the surrounding areas, steal the stone, and people managed to get it back and put it in its place. So over time, this stone used to be stolen and somehow recovered. But in the year 319 Hijrah, 931 AD, a group of people called the Batanis from Yemen, these were very strong-minded, what we would now call fundamentalists. First of all, they came to Basra, city in Iraq. They terrorized the people of Iraq and took control of Iraq. Then they came to Makkah. When the pilgrims were doing the tawaf in Makkah, they killed the pilgrims who were doing the tawaf. They then tore down the Kiswa and then damaged the eastern door, which is now there today, and then stole the stone. People tried for 20 years to get the stone back, but they could not succeed. It was only after 20 years that they managed to get the stone back. But in that recovery time, when they tried to get it back, the stones got broken into 8 pieces. It is said the average size of one of those pieces is the size of an average thumb, or some people say it's the size of an average date. That stone is now placed in a casing. It is now placed in a silver casing of high quality, so that the sunlight does not erode the casing. The stones are placed in a casing, but if you try and touch it, you will not feel the stones, because they are placed in a resin which is wax-like, so it feels smooth, and this is purposely made, this resin is specially made again to stop the erosion from the sunlight. The color of those stones are very dark brown and black in color now. There are some photographs which are going around which show the stones in blue color. That is only to show the relative size of the stones. The stones themselves are not colored in blue, but they are colored very dark brown, almost black.
المكبر الخالق البارئ المصور الغفار القهار الوهاب الرزاق الفتاح العليم.
Another part of the Kaaba is the golden pipe. This is the pipe on the northern wall, right towards the top, just near the roof. This is called Mizabe Rahma, the pipe of mercy. The fourth Imam was seen to pray exactly below this pipe, and that is why until today, when pilgrims get the chance, they enter into Hatim and try and pray below the pipe position itself. The pipe was first put there during the time of Qurayshi when the Prophet was 35 years old. The pipe material has developed since. In the year 954 Hijrah, a Turkish king called King Suleiman, he made the pipe out of silver. In the year 1021 Hijrah, another Turkish king called King Ahmad, he made it out of more better quality silver called enameled silver. And in the year 1273 Hijrah, another Turkish king called Abdul Majid, he converted that whole pipe made out of gold. And it is that material of gold, of that pipe, that is there until today. It was King Abdul Majid who designed the format and the length and the dimensions of the pipe that is there until today. The protruding length of the pipe is about 2 meters. The height is about 20 centimeters and the width is about 25 centimeters. So it's a fairly long pipe. It looks small from afar. So therefore this pipe has to be supported also somehow. There is about half a meter which is built into the wall. But also if you look closely, you would see a wire going from the pipe onto the roof which supports this wall. On the front flap of this pipe, there is inscriptions which says Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. And on the side there is a commissioning inscription which says this pipe was commissioned at the time it was King Fahad, and therefore it is his name which carries on this inscription. One of the parts of the Kaaba is the door on the eastern wall that we see today. And during the season of Hajj, we can see half the door because the burqa that covers the wall is also raised. The first door, as we saw, was there put in by King Abu Karab Aswad from Yemen in the year 200 before Hijrah. Since that time, the make and the design of the door has developed. In the year 1045 Hijrah, the Turkish king called Murad Khan, he reconstructed the door to the style and design that we see until today. The last major renovation occurred fairly recently in the year 1399 Hijrah in 1979 AD. One of the Saudi kings, King Khalid bin Abdul Aziz, he renovated the door and made it what it is, exactly more or less what it is now. So the door now stands at 2.25 meters above the ground. It is 1.9 meters wide and 3.1 meters high. But this door under King Khalid was now made out of pure solid gold. It is half a meter thick, so it's a very heavy solid golden door. It is supported by solid timber, but because the door is so heavy, the timber itself is gold plated to make sure it can carry the door. On the door there are inscriptions again in gold which are inscribed on the verses of Quran, but the two most common attributes on the door of Allah are Rahman and Rahim. There is another door in the Kaaba itself which is inside, which is the Tawbah door. This is the door that leads from the corner to the roof. The size of the Tawbah door is roughly about half the size of the outside door. Again, it is made of solid gold, and with the stairwell it leads to the roof. We now look at the key that opens the eastern door of the Kaaba itself. In Arabic, the word sadana means to provide services to the Kaaba. Prophet Ismail himself used to provide services to the Kaaba. It went through various generations, coming to the clan of the Prophet under Qusay himself. But after the conquest of Makkah, the Prophet asked for the key which was in the possession of Osman bin Talha. He asked the key from Osman. The Prophet opened the door of the Kaaba, and together with Imam Ali, they went inside and they took away all the idols that were inside. However, afterwards, he locked the door and gave the key back to Osman. And this is what he said to him. He said, Osman, take this key and keep it in the family of Osman. This shall now remain forever in your family. None but a tyrant will take it away from you. So this was a covenant between the Prophet and the family of Osman. When Osman died, the key was therefore given to his cousin called Shayba. And that key has remained in the family of Shayba until today. Whenever the Kaaba needs to be opened for any other reason, but certainly twice a year when it is cleaned, the royalty do not open it. The government cannot open it. They have to come to the family of Shayba and ask for that key. And one of the members would come and open the Kaaba, and when it is done, he would lock it and take it back. So that key until today, in line with the wish of the Prophet, is kept in the family of the Shayba. The key itself is about 40 centimeters long, and it is kept in a bag. Now the bag is also made in the same factory where the kiswa is made, of the same material, and it is also inscripted, one side by Quranic verses and the other side by the commissioning of the custodian of the Haramain of the time. There is an area on the walls of Kaaba called Multazam. Multazam means to attach to for supplication. And this is the area between the corner where the black stone is placed and just before the start of the eastern door. There is a little area there which is called Multazam. And that's why you see during the time of Hajj and any other time, people would stand on that area and try and touch the wall or cling onto the wall. Because the Prophet had said, any person who prays at Multazam will have their wishes granted. The next piece is Shazrawan, or a wraparound. And this was put in by King Sultan Murad in the year 1039 Hijrah. And the sole purpose was to try and avoid the rainwater on the ground soaking into the walls and then rising up the walls. And today when you look on the Kaaba on the ground level, you will see a marble of sloping ledge. This is like a wedge-shaped marble where the water will fall down, but it will not go into the walls itself. And this is covered on three sides of the Kaaba wall. On the eastern side, and the western side, and on the southern side. It is not covered on the area of the Hatim on the wall on the Hatim side. On those three sides, this ledge, the Shazrawan, the wraparound, is made out of marble. It also serves another purpose. You will see brass rings there. And these rings are used to hold down the kiswa. So the kiswa at the end is tied to a rope, which are then tied to the rings. There are 43 rings around the three walls. There is no Shazrawan as it is on the other three walls on the Hatim side. So there is just a straight marble strip which has got 12 brass strings. So in total there are 55 strings around the ledge which holds this kiswa in place. But the primary purpose of this ledge is to stop the infusion of water into the walls and rising into the walls. The ledge itself is about 13 centimeters high and 45 centimeters deep. So it forms the shape of a wedge. The other part, which is not directly connected to the Kaaba, is the footsteps of Ibrahim. We talked about the station of Ibrahim where people go and pray behind it after doing the tawaf. During the time of Ibrahim and Ismail, the walls were built to a 4.3 meters height. That was above the average height of the person at the time. An average man is about 2 meters height at most. Therefore, Prophet Ismail used to give stones to Prophet Ibrahim, but once about 2 meters height was reached, they had to go up higher. So what they did was they used a stone, and Prophet Ibrahim used to stand on the stone to put on the next level of walls. And as the walls got higher, they made this what we would now call a stepping ladder. But that stone that he used to stand on, it left an imprint. Now, the question can be asked, how can an imprint be left on a solid stone? And this is one of the miracles of Allah, that that imprint on a solid stone is seen and visible until today. And this is now positioned 14 meters to the eastern side of the wall, the station of Ibrahim. That footprint is kept on a marble base, and that marble base is in turn kept on another bigger base. This base is now enclosed in a casing of toughened glass, but people can see through it. The glass itself is about 1 centimeter thick, and people can see through the glass, and you can actually see the imprints of the footprints of Prophet Ibrahim. The length of the footprint is about 22 centimeters on average, and the width of the footprint is about 11 centimeters. They are slightly different between the left and the right foot. But even by the standards of then, it showed that Prophet Ibrahim must have been a taller than average man, because these are the dimensions of a much taller person than an average person would be. And the depth of the imprint is about 10 centimeters wide. And that completes the overview of the parts associated with the Kaaba itself. And that completes the 3-part of the series on Hajj, its rituals, Medina al-Munawwara, and Makkah al-Mukarramah. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Ahlul Bayt TV, the holy household for every household.